This is a Hils headless guitar with the tremolo, and as of making this video, it's my new favorite headless guitar that isn't custom made for $3,000. I showed Hils guitar in a prior video and I had a positive experience, but I certainly wasn't blown away. For $600, this is the exact headless guitar I would now tell everyone to run out and buy. It certainly isn't perfect, and I'll discuss some of the downsides about this guitar in the video, but when you factor in the price, it still gets my #1 recommendation. If you don't need a multi-scale, if you don't need a fancy neck shape, and if you're not spending $3,000, $4,000 for a fancy custom-made guitar, this is the one to buy. And yes, later in the video, we will also compare the Hils guitar to Strandberg guitars. I was also able to negotiate a small discount for you if you want to check out one of the Hils guitars, and I'll leave that info linked below. By the way, guys, I was just editing the thumbnail and title for this video, and it just occurred to me that some of you might be annoyed that I keep changing my mind about what's the best guitar to buy right now. But here's the truth of the situation. I love Strandberg guitars, I love PRS guitars, I love Hils guitars, I love Ibanez guitars, but I'm not loyal to any of these companies. So if I find a guitar or even a specific model that has a tremolo bridge that I think is better and is less expensive, I'm going to recommend it over something I recommended before. And if 2 years later I try a new Hils guitar and the quality isn't as good as a prior model, I'll just tell you, guys, this new model is not as good as the one I recommended in the past. Now, of course, every headless guitar starts with the headless hardware, and as you can see here, we have a really nice but simple design with the Hils guitar. We have just one screw that locks the string in place, and then we have this nice channel behind the screw that the string end can rest in so it's not poking you as you play the instrument. We also have a normal nut, of course, and we have normal straight frets. I don't want to get into the whole straight fret versus multi-scale thing today, but I have a separate video on that. You can check it out on the channel. And the rest of the neck is pretty simple, which I think is a great thing. It has a roasted maple neck and the back is satin and it feels nice and smooth. Very, very comfortable to play. And I would say that it's on the slightly thinner C shape, very similar to other guitars you play nowadays. And then we have the truss rod adjustment at the base of the neck, which we can all agree is the best position. While you're playing guitar, you can grab something off your desk and just quickly make an adjustment if you need to do that. And we also have stainless steel frets. I'll give my standard disclaimer when it comes to stainless steel frets. Not all stainless steel is made equal, and I can't say whether this will or will not last as long as the expensive stainless steel frets. But it is good to see it here at this price. And honestly, the thing that I like most about this neck is that it is unoffensive. If you walk into a guitar store and you pick up a bunch of guitars, they have necks similar to this, with frets similar to this. So if this is going to be your first or maybe even the only headless guitar in your collection, it's not going to feel like a new strange foreign thing. The body is certainly comfortable, very ergonomic, and more on that later. And I love this new paint job, especially the white with the black hardware. It's reminding me of the old 80s Steinberger guitars that had the white paint and the black hardware. I just think it looks cool, kind of retro, and it also has a nice, interesting matte feel to it. So I would say that the tremolo itself is good, not great, but it's definitely passable, at least for my use case. The tuners move really smoothly, which is really important. A lot of headless hardware doesn't have great tuners, so that's great. You can tighten up the arm or loosen it up so it just swings however you prefer, so that's good. And overall, I would say the feel is kind of stiff, but I've also run into this issue with most other tremolos that I have used in the past. Now, you're not going to be able to dive bomb this like a Floyd Rose or anything like that, but if you're doing basic subtle use, it's going to stay in tune fine. To be honest, I'm super picky with headless vibrato bridges. Off the top of my head, I've only tried two that I love. One is custom made for the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 Aristides guitars, and the other is the Hipshot headless tremolo that almost no one uses for some strange reason. Now, one area this guitar truly shines is the pickups. I know tone is very individual, but these pickups are the best active pickups I've tried for my tone personally. And just to be clear, these are EMG pickups on a very nice guitar, and these are Fishman Fluence pickups on another very nice guitar. I have a lot of experience with those two brands and they're cool, but I honestly like these more for my style. And I know that's a bold statement since this is a less expensive guitar, so let me explain. When it comes to my tone, for clean tones, I primarily play the neck pickup and I like a very flat tone. I noticed that active pickups often have this weird nasal mid-range thing that to my ears sounds really bad, especially for cleans. EMGs are the worst for this particular tone, and Fishman Fluences are only slightly less offensive, at least in my use case. But the active pickups on this guitar are perfect for me. Very neutral, and I didn't have to fumble around with an EQ to make them sound good. So with the EMG pickups, I hear that mid-range thing a lot in the lower strings, like the D string and below. With the Fishman Fluence pickups, I hear it a lot less, but I still notice it in the high strings. Now listen to this. Yes, they're hotter, which is not what I'm talking about. They're just... They're just more flat and a bit more even than the other ones. Now when it comes to lead tones, I like a medium lowish gain from a tube screamer, but I like the gain to be smooth, not fluffy or hairy. Think Allen Holdsworth. The tricky part is, if you get that tone on your neck pickup and then switch to your bridge pickup, the bridge will usually be too bright. But if you adjust your tube screamer and amp to get that tone on your bridge pickup and then switch to your neck pickup, it's usually going to be too muddy. And I have that issue with pretty much every set of pickups I've ever used. For some reason, these pickups are just perfect. The bridge pickup just sounds like a slightly more bright, slightly more focused version of the neck pickup, which sounds a little bit darker and a little bit rounder. But I don't have to make any huge adjustments going between the two. And if you're interested in splitting the coils on an active pickup, you do have that option here as well. I would personally never use that. And other than that, we have a simple three-way switch, master volume, master tone. And the controls are in a nice spot, so you're not constantly hitting them when you play guitar. So when it comes to the tone on this guitar, I think they honestly nailed it. It's always great when you can buy a guitar without having to worry about swapping the pickups like we all end up having to do on any guitar under $800. Now, I of course don't know how these pickups will interact with your setup, but my hunch is that they're just a very neutral sounding pickup, and it should be easy to make them sound good with your rig. It's certainly working well for me. So now let's return to the body and talk about why this can be a great guitar for you. Like most of you, I don't exclusively play headless guitars. If I'm doing my main practice in the studio for a day, I usually use my carving guitar and lately also a Gibson guitar. But sometimes I want to play guitar on the couch, And if I'm going on a trip for longer than a day, I like to bring a guitar with me. I'm not trying to get my full 2 to 3 hours of practice on vacation, but I like to wake up and play guitar for 30 to 45 minutes. As a lifelong guitarist, it just makes my day a lot better when I get to do that. By the way, if you also love guitar and it's just a big staple of your life, definitely join the free Lifelong Guitarist Newsletter. It's a video/article you get delivered to your email every Saturday morning, and it's totally free, link below. But chances are, when you go to play guitar in your living room, you're probably not bringing your favorite Gibson. And when you go on a 3-day business trip, you're not bringing your signature Steve Vai guitar. But the Hils guitar fits both of those roles perfectly. It doesn't matter if it's a boutique Dean Gordon guitar or a Hils guitar. My first test for any Headless is the does it balance on the right leg without a strap test. And there's no letter grade. This is a simple pass-fail test. Now, if a Headless guitar fails that test, like the last Hils guitar did, that isn't necessarily a deal breaker depending on the price. And that's because adding a strap can often rectify the issue if the balance isn't too bad. When the Headless guitar passes this test, the experience starts from a better position. No, literally. You start playing guitar from a better position. Now, this Hils guitar is the same shape as the prior version, but since it has a tremolo, it's a little bit heavier, and that increased weight actually improves the ergonomics. And as you can see, it now passes the test. Now, this may not seem like a big deal, but it's really a delicate balance a lot of companies don't get right. And this guitar nails it. Really, no strap, no problem. We also have these little rests on the bottom of the guitar so you can lean it against your wall or your amp. The output jack is in the correct position, so that is out of your way when you're seated, and it's the fancy jack that has the thing that doesn't get loose, which I also really like. Sometimes I leave this guitar near the couch and I pull it out when I'm watching a show with Mystery Girl, and I'll play it unamplified just to get my hands used to something new that I'm working on. And the guitar also comes with a nice gig bag, so I plan to make it my travel guitar this summer as I go on my Amtrak mini vacations that are paid for by credit card points. My prior guitar that filled the role that this guitar now fills is the Bowden Essential by Strandberg. It's definitely a great guitar, but the pickups aren't nearly as good as the Hils guitar, at least not for me. And when it comes to recommending guitars for viewers, I find it difficult to give a guitar with an Endure neck my go out and buy it right now recommendation. Some people love the Endure neck. I personally don't mind it, but some may not. If you absolutely love the Endure neck and need it, and you don't care about not having a tremolo, then I definitely recommend this guitar. But keep in mind, it's $400 more than the Hils guitar, and it's $500 more than the Hils guitar without the tremolo. Now, if you're wondering why I keep bringing up the vibrato bridge, it's because I personally prefer vibrato bridges on my primary guitars. And because of that, I went out and bought this Strandberg Salin NX a while ago. It has a tremolo, and the pickups sound a lot better than the other Strandberg guitar. I actually prefer the pickups on the Hils guitar, and I like the simple 3-way switch more than the 5-way switch because I only ever use the neck or the bridge for the most part. Also, the tremolo bridges are pretty much equal in my use case so far, and the Strandberg is 3 times more expensive than the Hils guitar. But also, if I really wanted to do a lot of whammy bar stuff, I probably wouldn't be playing the Strandberg or the Hils guitar. I'd be playing one of my normal headed guitars that has a 2-point tremolo. I know everyone thinks that guitarists on YouTube, we just get to get any guitar we want. The truth is, just like all of you, we are constantly looking around our room, looking at our guitars and doing the math. No one can play 20 or 30 guitars. So even if we get a guitar for free that's really nice that we like, something has to get sold so we can actually have paper money to buy groceries. This new Hils guitar can fill the role of both of my Strandberg guitars. So my first thought is to sell them and to just keep this one. Again, if you want a Headless guitar that's going to be your number one and you have $3,000 to spend, you should definitely go and buy a custom guitar. Check out this video. He's a great builder. But if you just want a Headless guitar as part of your collection and you can't afford something very expensive, definitely check out the Hils guitar. And again, I'll link that discount for you below. So I was just thinking about the conclusion to this video again. I'm starting to feel like Strandberg is their own thing, the same way Gibson and Fender are their own thing. You can buy a Les Paul style guitar anywhere, but if you want a Gibson Les Paul, you pay a premium. You can buy a Strat from any company, but if you want a Fender Stratocaster, you pay a premium. And now we have so many great headless guitars that are ergonomic at every price range. But If you want the Endor neck, if you want the exact Strandberg body, if you want the exact Strandberg tremolo, that is now their thing, and you're going to pay a premium because it's Strandberg. So it's kind of amazing that they were able to elevate themselves to this new tier of company along the lines of Gibson, PRS, Fender, etc. But if you just want a great headless guitar, you don't necessarily need to buy a Strandberg anymore